In the middle of a large savanna where the grass was tall and golden, there was a village called Tammany. This place was quiet and full of happy people who loved their traditions. One morning, something strange happened. Instead of the sun coming up yellow and bright, it rose red like blood. The people in the village started talking quietly to each other. They looked worried as they stared at the sky. An old man named Mzee Karama, who knew a lot of old stories, said that a red sun was a bad sign. The children felt scared and stayed close to their moms. Among these people was a boy named Kofi. He was not very noticeable most days, but he had a special gift. He could understand what the wind was saying. This morning, the wind seemed to talk about big changes and worries, and Kofi listened. The village leader, Chief Mz Jabari, stood up to speak. He was a big man who looked very strong and serious. He told everyone that they needed to find out why the sun was red. He said they needed a hero to solve this mystery. Right then, a strong wind blew and made everyone look at Kofi. It felt like fate was choosing him. Kofi stepped forward, feeling nervous but also ready. He felt something important was about to happen. His mother, Amma, came over with a worried but proud look. She put a necklace made of lion's teeth around his neck. "These are for courage," she said softly. "Take our blessings with you." Now Kofi was ready. He had the courage of a lion from the necklace and the good wishes of his whole village. He knew he had to leave his home and find out what was wrong with the sun. Kofi went to the chief's hut to talk more about his big job. The hut was full of old things from the village like shields, spears and masks. It smelled like earth and dried leaves. The hut felt like a place filled with history and memories. Inside, Chief Mzee Jabari sat on an old wooden stool. He looked at Kofi and spoke in a serious voice. "The spirits of our ancestors are talking," he said. "They say something dark is growing in the forbidden forest in the west. You must go there and fix the sun's color." Nia, a wise woman in the village, brought out a small box with beautiful carvings. She opened it to show Kofi what was inside. There was a flint stone for making fire, a small knife with special markings, and a bag of healing herbs. "These are blessed by our shamans," she explained. Kofi took the box carefully. "I won't let you down," he said, trying to sound brave and sure. Before he left, his grandmother pulled him aside. She was old and knew a lot about spirits and ancestors. "Listen to the winds, Kofi," she advised, her eyes showing she was almost crying. "They will help you when things get tough." Feeling a mix of excitement and fear, Kofi got ready to leave. He had his special box, the necklace for bravery, and his grandmother's advice. He walked out of the village, looking at the forbidden forest in the distance. He knew he had a long way to go and many challenges ahead, but he also felt ready to find out why the sun was red and to make things right again. Kofi started his journey towards the forbidden forest. It was a big, dark place that people from his village usually stayed away from. The trees were tall, and it was always a bit dark inside, even in the daytime. As he walked, the wind whispered through the leaves, and Kofi listened. He walked all day, and as the sun started to set, he made a small camp. He used the flintstone to start a fire. The fire made him feel safe and kept him warm. That night, under the stars, Kofi thought about his village and hoped he could fix the problem with the sun. The next morning, Kofi kept walking deeper into the forest. Soon, he met a tortoise on the path. The tortoise looked old and wise. It spoke to Kofi. "Hello, young traveler. Where are you going in such a hurry?" Kofi was surprised to hear the tortoise talk, but he replied, "I'm trying to find out why our sun has turned red." The tortoise nodded. "I see. That is a big task for a young one like you. I have a piece of advice to offer. In the forest, you will meet many creatures. Some are kind, but others are tricky. Always think carefully before you answer their questions or ask for help." Kofi thanked the tortoise for the advice. He felt lucky to have met such a wise creature. He thought about what the tortoise said as he continued his walk. Later that day, Kofi came to a big river. The river was wide and flowed fast. He needed to get to the other side, but there was no bridge. As he stood there, wondering what to do, the river started to speak. "I will let you cross, but first you must answer a riddle," the river said in a loud, clear voice. "I run but never walk. I have a bed but never sleep. I have a mouth but never eat. What am I?" Kofi thought hard. Then he remembered the stories his grandmother told him. He answered, "You are a river." The river laughed a happy laugh. "That's right, you may cross." The river calmed down, and stepping stones appeared just above the water. Kofi quickly crossed to the other side, thankful for his grandmother's stories. As Kofi continued his journey, he found a huge tree in the middle of the forest. It was bigger than any tree he had ever seen. The tree had bright green leaves that shimmered in the little sunlight that reached them. As Kofi got closer, the tree spoke to him. "I am the tree of truth. I hold the answers to many secrets. If you want my help, you must give me something true from your heart." Kofi thought about this. He took off the necklace his mother gave him and held it out. "This necklace is from my village. It represents courage and love from my family. It is very special to me." The tree was silent for a moment. Then it said, "Your gift is true and full of love. I will help you." The branches moved aside and a path opened up. "Go this way. It will lead you closer to solving the mystery of the red sun." Kofi put his necklace back on and followed the path shown by the tree of truth. He felt happy that the tree had helped him, and he was getting closer to finding the answer. The path took Kofi to a large field. It was covered in shadows, even though there was no cloud blocking the sun. In the field, shadows moved like they were alive. Kofi felt scared, but remembered the courage the necklace represented. As he walked through the field, a shadow came up to him. "To pass through my field, you must catch me," it said, and started moving quickly around Kofi. Kofi tried to catch the shadow, but it was very fast. He remembered what the tortoise said about thinking carefully. He stood still and closed his eyes, listening to the wind. When he heard the shadow behind him, he quickly turned and caught it. The shadow laughed. "Well done. You may pass." It moved aside, and Kofi walked out of the field, glad to be back in the sunlight. After the field, Kofi saw a huge mountain. It was so tall, it looked like it touched the sky. Kofi knew he had to climb it because the path led up the mountain. As he climbed, it got colder and the climb was hard. But Kofi kept going, thinking about his village and the red sun. When he reached the top, he was tired, but happy. From up high, he could see the whole forest. He sat and looked at the view, feeling proud that he had climbed so high. At the top of the mountain, Kofi met an old man. The man was dressed in long robes and had a kind face. He said, "I am a sorcerer and I've been watching your journey. You have done well to reach this far." Kofi was curious. "Do you know why the sun is red?" The sorcerer nodded. "Yes, and I will tell you. But first, you must show me you are ready to know." He gave Kofi a small task. "Bring me a leaf from the golden tree at the mountain's base." Kofi went down the mountain, found the golden tree, and brought back a golden leaf. The sorcerer was pleased. "You are brave and true. The sun is red because a spell was cast by a bad spirit. To break the spell, you must find the crystal of light deep in the forest." Kofi listened carefully to the sorcerer's words. He was ready to find the crystal and break the spell. After thanking the sorcerer, Kofi went back into the forest to find the crystal of light. It took many days, but he finally found it in a small cave. The crystal was bright and beautiful. Kofi took it, and the whole forest seemed to brighten. He returned to his village with the crystal. Everyone was waiting and happy to see him. Kofi placed the crystal in the middle of the village. As he did, the sun turned yellow again, bright and warm. The people cheered for Kofi. They were proud and happy. Kofi felt glad that he could help his village. He learned a lot on his journey and knew he would always remember the adventures he had. Kofi's story became a famous one in the village. Everyone knew about the boy who saved the sun and made the village happy again. His journey taught him about courage, truth, and how to listen to the wind. And Kofi always wore his necklace, remembering the love and courage it stood for.